Welcome to my unbiased, uncensored Premier League predictions, which I'm just going to say as is. I'm just going to say what's going to happen this season and where each club will finish. That's basically how it is. I'm going to explain in detail why I think that's the case. So if you agree with my opinions or you want to share what you think is going to happen this season, let me know in the description or comments. As always, if you're new around here, subscribe, hit the like button, share to really help the channel grow, and I would honestly be very thankful for your support. So without further ado, let's get started. So in 20th position, I'm putting Sheffield United to be rock bottom and to go straight back down. The reason is they have not made any significant signings. They brought Austin Trusty from Arsenal. It's the only noticeable signing, and then they've recently got rid of Ilian Ndiaye to Marseille and Sanderberg to rivals Burnley, not like relegation rivals. And I feel like they're going to struggle very, very easily. It's not when they came up, nobody noticed them and just went up to ninth and then went straight back down. It's going to be a very long season for them if they do not strengthen right away, because I can see it being a very long season if they don't strengthen, and who knows what will happen if there's any late signings that will surprise me, that are noticeable. But as I said, we'll see what happens. But 20th, I'm going to put Sheffield United. In 19th position, I am putting Luton Town, another newly promoted side, to go straight back down. As of today, or yesterday, they've signed Ross Barkley on a free transfer. They signed Taves Chung from Birmingham, former Man United youngster, and some other dudes from the Championship. They lack Premier League experience. They lack funds to make the big signings. It's a mammoth task for them to survive, and I really don't see that being possible. I have nothing against Luton. What they did was fantastic. They don't have expectation to survive, and if they do, then that's an absolute miracle in itself. You see, with Huddersfield, they survived first season but had a horrible second season, and I don't see that with Luton. With limited funds, by the way, with Huddersfield, I just don't see that with Luton. And if they do not strengthen even more, I don't think it's possible for them to survive. So 19th will be Luton. So 18th is a shock, but I have to put Wolverhampton Wanderers in there. The business they've done is it's not awful. It's just non-existent. It's mainly the outgoings. You see, the only signing they made is Matt Doherty on a free transfer, coming back. But then it's mostly outgoings. Ruben Neves, yeah, his final year of his contract, but he's off to Saudi. They also lost Connor Cody, Nathan Collins, Raul Jimenez, that's another one, Jan Martino, Adama Traore, and they haven't replaced them. And plus, the manager Lopetegui has resigned, and they've appointed Gary O'Neill, who'd done a very good job at Bournemouth last season. Unfairly sacked, by the way. He's now in, and their first game is on Monday against Man United. That's going to be very hard, and I genuinely think it's the end of Wolves' 6-year stay in the Premier League will be coming to an end. In 17th, narrowly surviving, is Burnley, also newly promoted. I think the way Burnley came up with 100 points has been fantastic under new manager Company, former Man City legend. The signings, they just signed Sanderberg, they signed James Trafford, the England goalkeeper, who's fantastic in the under-21s. There's, and apart from that, I don't really know who they signed. Because some of them were like loans, and some of them were, I don't think, worked out. But most of the deals have been loans which gave options to buy, which were Bayer, Obafemi, and we also signed like sort of Nathan Redmond, who used to play for Burnley. I'm not Burnley, Southampton. But the outgoings is White Weghorst on loan, and they also loaned in Jacob Brun Larsen. I think it'll work out. I think it'll be a struggle at times, but it will work out in the end, and I think they'll survive pretty comfortably by like a couple of points. But judging by last season, Everton only survived by 2, so you never know. But I'm going to put Burnley at 17th. So, in 16th place, I've decided to put Nottingham Forest there, exactly where they were last season. The reason is, apparently they're in a bit of financial turbulence, like FFP, which I'm talking about, and plus, there's been quite a lot of outgoings as well, with the likes of Ayew, Lingard, Colback, Sam Surridge is gone and Steve Cook is gone, which they weren't really that important, but quite a lot were like loans. So that's like my concern. But they've brought in the likes of Anthony Elanga and Matt Turner. They're linked with Dean Henderson. We'll see how that goes out. And they're kind of like looking for a centre back. But I think like if the likes of like Gibbs, White, Wanye, Johnson just perform all season, then maybe if there's like a big club next year that wants them, they'll go there. Because they're like, especially Gibbs White, he's a baller. Don't pay attention to Morgan Gibbs White. He's gonna have another great season, even better in my opinion. So they're gonna survive again, but just. So I'm gonna put Nottingham Forest at 16th. In 15th, I've decided to put Everton there, 2 places above where they finished last season. The reason is, it's their final season at Goodison Park. So I feel like there's added motivation for them for the upcoming season to not get relegated and to leave on a banger. You've seen over the last 2 seasons being in relegation battles, pretty much surviving on the final day. It cannot happen again, especially to a club like Everton, who had historic players back in the day. But as times have changed, they've not done much business in the transfer window, signing Dan Dromer on loan and Ashley Young, and not that significant outgoings. But I really think that they'll improve. They're gonna have a full season under Deitch, if there is a full season under him. He'll be there, and I expect an improvement from Everton to finish 15th. In 14th place, I've decided to put Crystal Palace there. The main outgoing, that is, Wilfred Zaha on a free transfer. They haven't really replaced him. They brought in a Brazilian named Matheus Franca. Not much, I haven't heard about him before. £20 million to go straight in the squad. And they signed Jefferson Lerma on a free transfer. And there's also might be worrying about Michael Elise possibly leaving with his £35 million release clause. That might possibly happen. So you've got to take that into account of what will happen. So if they don't strengthen anymore, then I feel like they'll do slightly worse than last season. They finished last season with a banger. I don't feel like it'll be like that this season. I think it'll be slightly worse if they lose some of their key assets and don't replace them. So that's why I'm going to put Crystal Palace at 14th. At 13th, some might say unlucky, I'm going to put Bournemouth who are going to do slightly better. They are fairly set Gary O'Neill. They're bringing in a new manager. And some of the signings haven't been that bad. They signed Justin Kluivert. They're about to sign Max Aarons. They're keeping some of their assets. And I feel like they're going to do slightly better than last season. They were about to sign Castrovilli. He failed his medical, so that move is off for him. But I feel like under tactically they'll do better. So they're going to do pretty better than last season in my eyes. But you never know. So I'm going to put Bournemouth at 13th. They'll do better, but not significantly. At 12th, doing slightly worse than last season is Fulham. There have been heavy links with some of their assets, including Joao Paulinho to West Ham. It looks like he's going to stay. Mitrovic has been heavily linked with moves to Saudi to the point where he's refusing to play for Fulham again. And it's got to the point where Fulham assigned Raul Jimenez as his replacement. Do I think he'll still in the boots for Mitrovic? I don't think so. I feel like the concussion in the fractured skull injury a few years ago really damped his form. It is very sad. It is really sad, and who knows what happened. And they've also signed Calvin Bassey, who might be a replacement for Tosin, who's also been linked with a move to Tottenham, but he's still a Fulham player. So they haven't really significantly strengthened, but they haven't sold their key assets yet. And with the other team strengthening, I feel like they'll do slightly worse, but it wouldn't be that worse because I think that they also got used to live without Mitrovic, which is 8-match ban for pushing the referee. So maybe they're used to it, but I feel like second season syndrome will kind of damp their form a little bit. So at 12th place, I'm putting Fulham. At 11th, the Conference League winners, West Ham United. If you talk about last season in the Premier League, they were awful. Really bad. They finished 14th, narrowly avoiding relegation. And they put all their eggs in the basket to win the Conference League, and they succeeded in doing so and winning their first trophy in 43 years. So congrats to them. Right now they haven't made signings. They're about to sign Edson Alvarez, James Ward-Prowse, and Harry Maguire. But the key reason is the Declan Rice void. He's left. He left for over £100 million. It'll be big task to replace him. They've also lost Scamacca. He's gone back to Italy. And Lucas Paqueta has been linked with a move to Man City. And if anything materialises it, he's going. And that's another huge blow. Losing your two main players in Paqueta and Rice. And you have to spend all that money to try and replace them, especially late on in the window. Who do they have to replace him? Because he only came in last summer. Don't forget. So it will be a big task. They're going to be in Europa League again this season. They won't win it, but I feel like they'll do a good cup run. If they have to put all their eggs in that basket, it will be Europa League, and I don't think they'll do well in the Premier League again this season. So 11th is West Ham United. At 10th position, I'm going to be putting Brentford there, doing slightly worse than last season. I feel like the main reason is Ivan Toney's suspension. They haven't really got like a replacement in for now. They've been linked with a move for Fiorentina's Nico Gonzalez, but it just talks for now. Tony will not be back until January. because of gambling addiction of betting. So that's why he's out. And in terms of signings, they brought in Mark Flecken. Haven't heard much about him to replace David Raya. I don't know how that will plan out. Pre-season, he kind of conceded quite a few goals. They've also brought in a defender in Nathan Collins from Wolves, who I was told about earlier. They made the Kevin Shade deal permanent, and they'll do fine. They'll do fine. They'll be comfortable mid-table. But once they get Tony back, then they'll do way better. I feel like they'll start the season slow, but when Tony comes back, ready and sharp, then Brentford will do slightly better. So exactly mid-table at 10th place is Brentford. Moving up to 9th now, and I've decided to put Tottenham Hotspur there. It's going to be a long season for them as well. And Bayern Munich, they've agreed a deal for Bayern, €100 million to sign Harry Kane, last year of his contract. We don't know if he has said yes to them. It still remains to be seen. And signing Maddison is very good, but the defence, it's very concerning. Like the goalkeeper, how will he do? Vicario and Van der Ven, how will he turn out? They still got the likes of Sanchez, Dyer, Davis. The defence is so horrible, and if they don't sign another centre back and offload the likes of Dyer and Sanchez and co, then they're going to do a bit worse than last season. Because it's this year Tottenham, and also it's going to be very hard. Only to replace Kane, who's going to score the goals. You can't rely on Maddison because he's not a striker; he's a creative midfielder. So that's going to be a big void in the next season. So it's going to be a bit worse. They won't win trophies yet again. So Tottenham for me will finish 9th. In 8th place, doing slightly worse, is Brighton and Hove Albion. So this somehow they've lost McAllister to Liverpool, Robert Sanchez to Chelsea, and the future of Moises Caicedo is still in the balance. He wants to leave. £100 million or nothing is what Brighton are demanding. Will they have a replacement ready for him? But on the other hand, they've made signings like James Milner, Joao Pedro, Bart Verbruggen, Igor, and Dahoud. Those are the main ones. And also playing in Europa League this season. Will they put all their eggs in that basket to try and go all in it for it? Which is what I think. I think they'll focus more on Europa League this time rather than the league, which they'll do slightly worse, but they won't do that bad. So it depends on the Caicedo situation, if they can get it sorted in time, and who they're going to replace him with. So for now, I'm going to put Brighton and Hove Albion as 8th. In 7th now, probably doing way worse than our season, is Liverpool. They've made signings in McAllister and Szoboszlai, very good signings, but they still have problems. I'm talking about the defence. They still need centre backs. Van Dijk is declining. Matip and Gomez are not good enough, and Konate is injury prone. They need a backup right back. Trent for me is not a right back, he's a midfielder. They should go and get a right back, and the midfield is specifically the depth. Thiago is always injured. You can't really rely on Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott. Bajcetic, it remains to be seen. He's been out for a couple of weeks with an injury. I think he's still injured. And the forwards are fine. They've got good depth in the forwards, but it's just the midfield, and they've been trying to get Lavia all summer for then Chelsea. to put in a bid of around £48 million last night. That's just like a slap in the face for them. So how I see it plan out is, I don't see them getting Lavia or Caicedo, because they've been rumoured to get Caicedo. That's not going to happen, and I think it's going to be the end of Klopp's tenure at Liverpool. I genuinely think it is. That's just a prediction, and that's what I'm going to leave Liverpool at in 7th. Improving to go to number 6 is Chelsea. I think under Pochettino, a proper manager, they will improve. Plus, without having to play European football, they'll do significantly better. But I just don't think that they have enough to get into the top 4. I mean, the injury to Nkunku, that's going to be a massive loss. Nicholas Jackson, he's been pretty good pre-season. Can he do it week in, week out for Chelsea? Now he has more responsibility in the forward than Nkunku. Plus, they've also done good business as well, getting rid of a lot of players. Mount, Havertz, Koulibaly, Mendy, the lot. They're all gone. So a fresh start. No European football, but I feel like they're going to get quite significant injuries, and I also think that it won't be enough for them to push on to the top 4, top 5, depending on how the UEFA coefficient is for the Champions League rearrangements. So I don't think it'll be enough for them this season, but I think they will significantly improve from 12th up to 6th. Up to 5th now, and it is Aston Villa. For me, they're gonna do way better than last season. I think full season under Emery, plus the signings they've made, Tielemans, Pau Torres, and Moussa Diaby, has been very, very good. But the downside is that Emi Buendia is probably going to miss most of the season, because I think he's done his ACL, which has been confirmed today. They've been linked with a move for Zaniolo. If he's going to come in, how will he adapt to Premier League? It's a big question, especially to fill in the boots of Buendia. For me, he's pretty underrated. I don't mind Buendia. It's going to be a massive loss. Also, they're going to play Conference League this season. I think they have a good chance of winning it if they go on to the group stages, because they have to play the playoff rounds. So I think they'll get in. And I think it'll be another great season. I think Ollie Watkins is banging goals. The defence looks solid. They still got Emi Martinez. Life at Villa is very good. It is very good. They're still going to get more business in. I mean, transfers. And Villa are going to be so much better. So, for 5th place, just missing out on 4th, is Aston Villa. At 4th place, exactly where they were last season, is Newcastle United. I've been pretty impressed by their business. It's like signing Sandro Tonali is very unexpected, but they got the pull, they got him in. I think he'll do good in the Premier League. Also signing Harvey Barnes, Premier League proven, one of Leicester's best players last season alongside Maddison. Of course, they were relegated. He was brought in, and also signing Tino Livramento as fullback cover. He can also play left back. Bit of a concern with him because of his injury record. I mean, the injury he got was so bad, and there's a question marks around him and how he will do. But if he has the performance like before the injury, he will do well. So I've got no concern with that. And with the outgoings, of course, using ASM to Saudi Arabia, they got good money for him. But I feel like they had to buy Harvey Barnes to let ASM go. And also with They have not really got rid of their so-called deadwood out of the club yet. They're still working on it. We don't know if they're going to make any more transfers in the next few weeks, but they'll go all well in the competitions. They'll do well and surprise people, especially in the Champions League. So I got no bother about them, and they will hopefully finish fourth by the end of this season. Into third now, and I've got to put Arsenal in there. Of course, they bottled the league last season. They over-celebrated the Community Shield, which they should not have been in the first place. And most of the signings have been pretty good. Of course, the main man Declan Rice, £100 million, he's in. Yuri and Timber impressed me in the Community Shield. How will he do? And David Raya is in on loan from Brentford, but man, the signing of Kai Havertz, so £65 million for Kai Havertz, you've got to be joking. And he played up striker in the Community Shield as well, so it's going to be a long season with him up front. But in terms of the outgoings, they lost Granit Xhaka. People were sad that he's gone, and they've not really sold their deadwood yet. And they sold Matt Turner the other day. But they won't do well in Champions League. They'll throw all the cup competitions away. We've got bigger fish to fry, and to the point where they'll do pretty worse than last season. So I have to put Arsenal at third place. But improving, however, is Manchester United, who will be finishing second, in my opinion. Now, they sold De Gea's gone. They're bringing Onana. That's an upgrade. So they got a striker, Rasmus Højlund. He's already injured. I don't think he'll hit the ground running yet, but when he does, he'll be relentless and unstoppable. Mason Mount, how will he do? Will he see him as the Champions League version or last season's version? There's questions about him. Plus, they're soon to sell Fred, Maguire, Van der Beek, Dean Henderson, Scott McTominay. They're all going to go. And they're going to bring in lots of Amrabat Debo in. And hopefully a surprise signing. That's just with the likes of Cristiano coming back and Casemiro last season. So I expect United to massively improve last season. Of course, winning the Carabao Cup and getting top 4. So I think they will do pretty better than last season with the additions and to play the football the proper way. So I got no bother with that. So, in my opinion, United will definitely improve to the point where they will get second place. So, meaning that the champions, yet again, is Manchester City. What a surprise. For the outgoings, they got rid of Mahrez to Saudi and Gundogan to Barcelona. His contract expired. And they've signed Josko Vardio, Mateo Kovacic. Now, their defence is just elite. It's the best defence probably in the world right now. Adding Gvardiol in there is just nuts. The fee's €90 million. I think he'll definitely adapt quickly under Pep's system, and they might not be done there. They've been looking at Lucas Paqueta from West Ham. Will he be going there? Probably likely, but I just see that City will. Everyone writes them off. There's some question marks about them, but they always silence them, the critics. And I'm not surprised if they go and win it, because genuinely last season I thought Arsenal were going to win the league, genuinely, but they bottled it when it really mattered. And when it really matters, City always come on top. So do not be surprised if City win the league then. Would be surprised if someone else wins the league. Or they won the treble. Will they do that again as well? It's a big task yet again. Personally, I don't think they will, but I will not be surprised. So there you go. Those are my Premier League predictions. It's been a pretty of a lengthy video, I know, but it's great to get it out. Hopefully I get some wrong. Some of them I've been very skeptical of. Hopefully I get them wrong. And we hope for a brilliant Premier League season that kicks off tomorrow. So as always, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Really appreciative if you do. And I'll see you next time.